You're tuned in to Ask the Master Auto Technician. Car questions? Get answers right now. Call 850-763-0555.
James Auto Center, we fix it right, guaranteed. Beep, 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 yeah.
All right, welcome back to the second half of Ask the Master Auto Technician. We had Tom on there earlier when we were talking about air conditioning on his Denali. And I've got Scott Hobbs on here. Now, he's got air conditioning on all of his trucks that he uses at Mr. Reuter Plumbing at 763-2001. But he also does more than just, he doesn't fix air conditioning, but he drives around going to people's houses and making sure that the employees, when they go into your house to talk to you, don't look like they've just come out of a sweat factory, where they at least have a nice clean uniform. They look like they're ready to work on your car, or excuse me, your plumbing, without looking like they've worked on 100 other plumbing jobs before they came to you. Did I say that right, Scott, that your guys are very, very well dressed when they come to people's houses?
Yes, that is correct. We do keep their air conditioning running. This time of the year, that's very important.
Oh, it is.
So,
yes.
It sure is. And we keep them in uniforms. We make sure they have shoe covers to put over their shoes, and we even bring our own doormat.
That's the amazing thing. I mean, this is something that was originated by Mr. Reuter, if I'm not mistaken. Y'all were was I not mistaken, the gentleman plumbers? Is that originally what y'all were called at one time, where y'all would always come and make sure you didn't track on their carpet, and that you kind of like left no trace behind? I think that was y'all's original thing that y'all started doing years ago. I may be wrong, but wasn't y'all the original gentleman plumber, so to speak, Mr. Reuter?
Well, we've been doing it here through Hobbs Plumbing. We're the family-owned company.
Mm-hmm.
We've done that for years.
Mm-hmm.
We really strive to do things right and take care of people's homes, and probably for, 20, 30 years, that's kind of been our policy, to wear the shoe covers and try to make it cleaner than when we got there.
Well, we were talking the last few weeks every time you call about y'all do a lot of septic tank pumping out over the years, and y'all have to go all the way to St. Joe, Florida, to dump this sludge out instead of taking it somewhere else. And I was talking to the city manager, the county manager, about the other day. He says, if we could get agreement between all the local plumbers that are hauling down to St. Joe, that they would come here, and we could get them to agree that they would spend so much money with us a year, we might be able to change something where y'all wouldn't have to drive so far. And I said, well, I'll mention it to Scott Hobbs and see if he and the other plumbers in this area would be more than willing to talk to our county manager to see if that would be something that y'all could live with. And I said, I told him at least I would mention it to you when I talked to you on Monday about you. And you said there's probably at least another 10 plumbers, septic tank companies in this area that you know of that go to St. Joe every day. Is that what you told me?
Well, sure. I mean, think about it. Why would we not? Even if the dumping fees are the same,
mm-hmm.
why would we not travel, a shorter distance?
Yes. Well, that's what I asked him.
Makes no sense.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So I'm asking you, Scott. I want you, because
Sure.
I'm not a plumber, and I want you to talk to your plumbing buddies out there and ask them if they would please go talk to the county manager and give him, because I gave him the idea, and he kind of looked at me like, no one's ever brought this up to me. I went, what do you mean no one's ever brought this up to you? Well, they said they wanted to dump, but they didn't tell me that all of them had to go there, and that possibly we could repurpose this. And I said, well, we got to figure something out, because we only got, I think I read today, where 82 homes are actually being served by this waste treatment plant, and they're not creating enough effluent or enough water to come out of it to do anything with it, so with only 82 homes in it. But if we had where there was more dumpage and more usage going to it, it could actually create more product, so to speak. I mean, treated waste on it, that they could actually turn around and start putting all their plans together about building the pipe all the way from there to the steam plant to cool off the steam plant. That's one of the goals they want to be able to do, is take this water that's been treated, that is almost drinkable water, and pipe it to the steam plant and sell it to the steam plant to cool off the towers. And I said, that's not a bad idea, that way. But it's a great idea. But the thing is, we're going to need to get more, of this septic sludge there that's diluted and treated, because it's a separate process all by itself. You have to aerate it, dilute it, add oxygen to it by aerating it. I don't know much about it, and get it where it'll break down like it's supposed to. And
sure, septic is much more concentrated than just your general sewage from a city sewer system.
It is. That's what he was telling me, and I said, "Look, I don't know. I'm not a plumber. I don't know these things, but we know we need to use that up there, and it would benefit you along with the other 9 or 10 plumbers that are taking all the way to St. Joe, and there's other counties around us that are coming right through Bay County, going to St. Joe, doing the same thing, and they could probably cut 100 miles, maybe if not more, off a round trip." And when you start figuring out the wear and tear on a truck and wear and tear on the highways, and it's just those trucks aren't light; they're several tons, and that's wear and tear.
Oh, sure.
And that's
right. We're riding down county roads and state roads and wearing those out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the whole picture would be better for everyone.
Okay. Well, one of the things I'd love for you to do is please see if you can talk to your buddies first and see about it. What he was talking about doing, and y'all get an agreement that y'all will take all y'all's stuff to there, and this is how much money they're going to take in, and that way they have an agreement. That way they know how to budget, to repurpose this. And I don't know all the details involved, but please, I would love to be able to see if we can get some relief to those 5,200 families that are in Bay County that are paying twice what you and I are paying for water.
Sure.
I think, what are you paying for water? $70 to $100 a month for water?
Oh, no, it's not that much. It's just 2 of us living there, so it's not a whole lot. But I know we're not paying near as much as those.
Those people are paying sometimes. I think someone was telling me yesterday they use 3,000 gallons of water. No, it was 10,000 gallons of water, and they had a $246 water bill. And I went, well.
Wow.
I said, that's pretty expensive, but I said, I just know they don't give water away like they used to. And that's
Sure.
part of the problem is it costs money to do this. So we talked enough about that. So what do you think would be a good process for the septic tank sludging disposal, in your opinion?
Well, I think that's a great process. We've talked about before some of the rural haulers that are up, in Holmes County and Jackson County. They're currently land spreading. You've got a select few, but not all of them. Just a few are land spreading. But the Florida, I guess, the Department of Environmental Protection is trying to put an end to that.
Yeah, I
and they
think
keep
so.
pushing it down the road and give them another extension. But at some point, they're going to eliminate that. So everything's going to have to be processed.
Everything's going to have to be processed because we're running out of, there's more and more people coming to Florida, and more people want to live in Florida, and no one wants a sewer treatment plant in their backyard. But at least we've got one already in our backyard, and we need to make full use of it, and instead of letting it just sit there and go to waste, or just working on 82 families out there, and it's just not producing enough effluent, they say. And if it doesn't produce enough effluent, then the stuff that's in line becomes septic. I think that's the word they use. I don't understand what that means. In fact, it doesn't flow and becomes nasty, nasty stuff, and because they can't move it through the pipes. And so what we need to do is get more people, get more use on it, and I think that would be a good way to do it. So what do we want to do about, now, Hobbs Plumbing, what was the biggest, the biggest challenge that hit y'all this week as far as a repair or troubleshooting or damage to a customer's plumbing or piping that y'all had to take care of?
Sure. What I wanted to mention to you about is we had a customer give us a call, and he had an awful just sulfur egg smell in his water heater, and he was on city water. And he did his research online and found out that bacteria can grow in the water heater, and he talked to us about changing the anode rod, which would maybe help affect that. And over the years, I found out that you have to change those water heaters out. And that water heater happened to be about 19 years old. So it was time to change it out. It well past its life expectancy.
Yes.
But, these homes here, vacation homes, people will turn the power off, say, and that tank of water will sit for, weeks or months, and a bacteria will start to grow in that tank.
I never thought about that. Yeah,
sure. And then
warm and dark.
They turn it on. Right, they turn it on, heat it back up, and it creates a gas, a smell. And that we have found over the years, there's no way to get rid of that.
Really?
You can go online and they'll tell you to purge it with chlorine and do some different things to flush it out. But we've never been successful, and we've spent hundreds of dollars trying to resolve that for folks. And we always go to them and say, hey, it's an appliance, let's swap it out.
So I did not know that. So you say if you get that gaseous sulfur smell from, because I've smelled that before in houses I've rented or had, when you turn the water on and you get that sulfur smell, that's from bacteria in your water heater. Is that correct?
Right. If you're experiencing it on the hot side in your own city water, more than likely that's going to be coming out of your hot water heater.
And the only way to correct that is to replace the water heater, correct?
Correct. That's right.
Wow.
That's right. There's a lot of tips and tricks online, but we have failed to be successful with those, and we always end up replacing that water heater. Now, one of the challenges is years ago, everybody would, turn their thermostat up to 140 degrees, and that's hot enough to kill that bacteria and keep it killed. But now, we have to keep them at, say, 120, 125, and that's just below the mark where that bacteria really thrives.
Wow, I had no idea.
So, Scott, I have a question.
Sure.
If someone wants to vacation and they want to turn off their water heater, should they drain the water heater before they and leave it that way, empty of water?
Well, I think you could still have an opportunity for bacteria to grow because there's no way you get 100% of the moisture out.
Right.
And unfortunately, I would tell them to leave the power on, at least to the water heater. Maybe kill the breakers to everything else, but at least keep that hot enough in that water heater to keep.
Yeah.
I know. I saw that problem.
Going.
I know I saw that problem. Get an on-demand water heater.
There you go.
That's absolutely the best solution for that. You're correct.
That would work even better. An on-demand water heater has two advantages. One, you're not heating up water you're not using. Two, you never run out of hot water. That's the two advantages I like. And you're only heating up water you're using right now. You're not heating up water to sit in storage and wait for you to use it and for the thermostat to kick off and on. And if I'm not mistaken, on-demand water heaters pay for themselves in about 5 years. Is that the number I got, or maybe I'm wrong, but I think that's what my wife told me. It's about 5 years.
Yeah, there's a lot of charts and graphs, but I always caution folks. Like when we got our tankless heater, I had 2 teenage daughters, and they went from taking 10, 15-minute showers to taking 30-minute showers. So,
I forgot about that.
That's right.
But that's what you do is you put a timer on it. That's what you put a timer on a plug-in where the water heater is only on for 10 minutes at a time. Then the timer cuts off. That's what I told my daughters when I want to get them out of the shower. I just go unplug the on-demand water heater, and all of a sudden they come out in 30 seconds.
That's right.
It works very, very well that way. But I didn't think about that. But that is something that people can do. Is like I said, they may end up offsetting it by taking longer showers now because the water doesn't turn cold on them. So you do need to pay attention to how much time you're taking in a shower because the water never gets cold.
Right.
It's always hot there.
But to say that again, you're absolutely right. For a vacation home that you're not going to be at, or maybe a fish camp, something like that, the absolute best thing to have would be a tankless water heater because, like you said, you're not keeping water hot and you're not there, and you've got this reservoir of water just sitting there that anything could be happening to it. It could spring a leak when you're not there.
Oh, that's so true, and that gets very expensive. We saw that downtown. Yesterday we were going downtown and we saw where a building the ceiling had flooded out from the water line going to the top line, and the whole bottom floor was wet, and that's downtown Panama City. What a mess, all because of a busted line. Scott, thank you so much for calling. We got to do a live read right here. We got to sell something out there. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you next Monday morning. And I got to mention 231 Paint and Body Shop, 763-0991. Give them a call. They'll be more than happy to make your car look brand new like they did my wife's Crossfire. Just give them a call. Skipper Hutchison over at 231 Paint and Body, 763-0991. Just a mile north of the mall on 231. They'll be more than happy to make your car look great. As they used to say, give it the Hutch touch. We'll be back tomorrow morning with everybody.
James Auto Center, we fix it right, guarantee.